BlackRock has called Bitcoin a flight to quality. Fidelity has said Bitcoin is exponential gold. What's happening here is that the marketing taglines for how these institutions are going to sell their ETF to their clients and assets under management is emerging. And everyone's still going around, oh my God, BlackRock said Bitcoin is a flight to quality. Oh my God. No, you're missing the game here. They haven't just been thinking about this and just suddenly Larry Fink's out on TV talking about Bitcoin being a flight to quality. This will have been a marketed, tested slogan and a phrase that they want to attach to Bitcoin in order to sell the asset once the ETF comes out. If you think that Larry Fink is on TV calling Bitcoin a flight to quality and just going, oh my God, this is, you know, just out of thin air, magically, this is what's happened. You're just completely and utterly misguided. And how I knew that, and I was waiting for the second use of the term flight to quality, and that was when Mohamed El-Erian came on CNBC and said people are preferring Bitcoin as a flight to quality over these other assets like bonds, right? And so this is getting very, very dangerous now. This is getting extremely dangerous for the retail person. And again, I need you to subscribe to my channel, because not only because, you know, the faster you subscribe, the harder it spanks the YouTube algorithm to get Bitcoin content out in front of other people. But I've also got an interview dropping tomorrow with the man who orange-pilled Michael Saylor. And I want you to subscribe to the channel for that, so you don't miss it, because he, an institutional insider, will tell you exactly how this is going to play out from an institutional perspective. And one of the quotes that he said in the interview was, the day that the ETF is approved, the retail era of Bitcoin ends and the institutional era of Bitcoin begins. Think about how powerful that statement is. And that's what's coming up here. And you're seeing it now with all these funds and all these asset managers figuring out how they're actually going to sell this asset to their clients. BlackRock's calling it a flight to quality. Fidelity's calling it exponential gold. There's a bunch of other people, you know, calling it their own thing. And so, you know, like MicroStrategy, right? Bitcoin is digital real estate. That's a very powerful thing to say, considering that, you know, a company that wants to divest wants to invest its cash flows can invest in commercial real estate, right? And can buy commercial real estate. So MicroStrategy is using the digital real estate argument to make the bridge for their shareholders that when they buy Bitcoin, they're buying a new version of real estate. So all of this is marketing. And the key thing that's going to happen here is 50,000 financial advisors worldwide will be calling approximately $130 trillion of capital over the next 5 years using these specific taglines that are being tested in front of your face, and everyone's still going, oh, you know, like I'm going to $10 a month DCA. You're going to miss the boat here if you don't start taking this thing seriously. And that's what's going on here. Bitcoin is a flight to quality, right? That is, you can imagine, right? They're going to call up their clients. They're going to say, hey, we think Bitcoin's a new flight to quality, and we think you should get an allocation to that. And what do you think someone that's given BlackRock $5 billion out of their out of their $11 trillion is gonna say to that? You think they're gonna say no? You think they're gonna say no when the person who's responsible for making you as rich as you are calls you and says, hey, we think Bitcoin is a flight to quality. I want you to get an allocation to it. The capital is going to start moving faster and faster and faster, especially as years go on and performance numbers of the funds and everything else start coming out. And remember, this is not a small amount of money. There is up to $130 trillion of assets under management just in the top 500 asset managers, all of which will look towards BlackRock, Fidelity, etc., to guide which way which way they speak to their clients. So this is being tested right now in front of you, and you need to start taking this seriously. If you care about people, you need to start telling them. If you are worried about people not getting into Bitcoin, this is the moment where you're gonna have, like, we're reaching the precipice here, and what comes next is you falling down the waterfall. That's it. And so, you know, I wanted to take this time to just let you know that I think it's extremely important to listen to what these institutional players are saying. I know a lot of Bitcoiners don't like listening to institutions because it's like, oh, institutions, I don't give a shit about institutions. Bitcoin doesn't need institutions, etc., etc. That's a lazy mindset. If you think that Larry Fink is an absolute idiot, he's not, right? To be able to run an $11 trillion asset management firm, you can't be an idiot, right? It's just extremely arrogant to say Larry Fink is an idiot. He's probably got more people with more brain power than you and I and everyone else on Bitcoin Twitter working to figure out exactly what Bitcoin is and how it's going to work. So the point I want to make here is that the marketing taglines are emerging. It's extremely important that you get your position secured. You know, if you think that's the right thing to do. And if you don't, then I would highly recommend going and doing your own research and reading and getting your understanding to where it is. So, you know, I don't want anyone sitting there that's watching any of my videos going, hey, I had the cash to buy one Bitcoin, but I didn't. And now an ETF is approved and the fucking world just spun on its heels. I don't want that. So that's why I'm trying to get this message out there as soon as possible, trying to highlight, like, okay, what's going on in the world and how are they testing these taglines. And BlackRock's testing these taglines because for Mohamed Al-Arian to repeat the exact same thing 2 weeks after Larry Fink does it, that you think this is, come on, you think that this is just random? You really think that this is just random? Right? You don't think that they have marketing departments. You don't think that they have people designed to, and their job is to figure out what the best way to convey a particular message is, right? What do you think they did with ESG, right? ESG, they were trying to sell it for so long, it didn't work. Larry Fink had to write a letter and say, if you want capital from BlackRock, you will become ESG, right? That was the ultimate way, but they're going to start selling it first. You're going to start selling with the honey first. So I want you to realize that this is getting extremely serious. Start paying attention to the tagline. Start paying attention to what's going on. And it's amazing to me because there's a lot of people that will say, oh, you know, I just completely missed what was going on. No, you just weren't paying attention. So instead of acting arrogant and talking about, oh, I don't care what the institutions do, start paying attention so you can actually start understanding how the game works. The game started working as soon as they applied for an ETF. That's when their game became public. Before that, their game was private. And that's more dangerous. Now it's easier because it's in the public eye. They're doing it right in front of your face and you're sitting there going, oh, maybe I don't need to tell the people that I love to get into Bitcoin. Oh, maybe I don't need to worry about that. They're literally doing it in front of your face. And you're being arrogant by saying, I don't want to do this. We need to get people to one Bitcoin because they are not going to stop. And despite them continuing to sell Bitcoin to their clients up front, right in front of your face, there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.